What's going on, everyone? Burbank Aviation here, and welcome back to another video. Today we have the October 2023 fictional model airport for you guys. I know it's been quite some time, about 2 months now, since we've done the last fictional model airport, but I'm super glad to be able to bring this back. We have a lot to go over today with the new airline, route changes, and all sorts of stuff to go over in today's video. I really hope you guys enjoy, and we're just gonna get straight on into the video. Real quick though, I did make a community post about this. Like I said, I made a community post about this. It'll be the day before this video is out, the day of recording though. About changing the layout once again. I know over the series, if you guys have been sticking with us for a while, this layout's been changed numerous times, but the problem is it's just that the United JetBlue terminal and then this international terminal are just getting too close to where I can just barely fit a 787 between the two if there's an aircraft. So I really do want to change that. What I'm thinking of is moving the international terminal over to about this area where this terminal is. American will get shoved down that way a little bit more, and then Delta Hawaiian will move over to where the international terminal is right there. So that's the current plan that I'm thinking of. Like I said, I made a community post. Go vote on it. I'm just saying that it is just a little bit crammed, a little bit unrealistic, and I do want to end up changing it. But anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's just get straight on into the video. We're going to start over here with the Southwest section. We have one new model today for Southwest. We're going to start off here with the 737-700. This guy just arrived in from St. Louis. Going to be continuing on over to Chicago Midway. Chicago Midway, a 3 daily out there. And then St. Louis, a new starting service, 1 daily out there. So that's super awesome to see. The Southwest 737-800, the Heart 1 livery, is going to be heading on over to Kansas City, a 1 daily as well, after arriving in from Atlanta. We have two nice aircraft right here, the Tennessee 177-800 in the back. There we go. This guy just arrived in from Nashville. He's going to be continuing on over to Las Vegas. And the 737-700 in the Canyon Blue livery is going to be heading on over to New York LaGuardia after arriving in from Houston Hobby. The Southwest 737 MAX 8 is going to be heading on over to Phoenix after arriving in from Denver. And the Colorado 177-700 is going to be heading on over to San Jose del Cabo after arriving in from Oakland. The Southwest 737-800 is going to be heading, this one is in the Heart 1 colors. This guy's going to be heading on over to, we'll say, San Diego after arriving in from Austin, Texas. And we have two really nice models right here, the Southwest 737-700 in the Canyon Blue livery. This guy's going to be heading on over to, we haven't used Dallas, and then he arrived in from Dallas on over to Orlando. I'm actually going to move around over here to the other side so we can get some better lighting. Sorry about this. In the beautiful, sorry about that, my phone decided to quit on me for absolutely no reason. But finally here for Southwest in a absolutely beautiful model, the 737 MAX 8. This guy just arrived in from Mexico City. Going to be continuing on over to New Orleans, a new service for us, our second new service. We have the Spirit A320neo making its inaugural service in from Las Vegas. He's going to be continuing on over to Fort Lauderdale. Those are 2 of our 3 A320 services, and then we also have Philadelphia. Have 3 other A319 services, which we'll go over once we get to that Spirit A319 here shortly. The Alaska UNSEN 5 here is going to be heading on over to Orlando after arriving in from Chicago. Here are 2 regional routes here for the UNSEN 5. And then we have 2 737s right here for Alaska. The 900 ER in the front, the standard colors, is going to be heading on over to Los Angeles after arriving in from Seattle. And the 737-800 in the back is going to be heading on over to San Francisco, after arriving in from San Jose del Cabo. The Sun Country 737-800 in the 40 years of flight sticker is going to be heading on over to Minneapolis, St. Paul on the turnaround service right there. That's super awesome to see. The Frontier A320 Neo is in the Baja, the whale shark tail for us here today. This guy is going to be heading on over to, let's look at Frontier routes. I will say Cleveland after arriving in from Chicago Midway, in new service right there. The Spirit A319 right here is making its inaugural, just made its inaugural service in from Baltimore. Is going to be making its inaugural service out to Orlando. Those are 2 over 3 A319 routes, also including San Juan there on the A319. So 6 total routes: Las Vegas, Philadelphia, and Fort Lauderdale on the A320, Orlando, San Juan, Baltimore on the A319. The Allegiant A319 is going to be heading on over to Orlando Sanford after arriving in from Nashville for us today. The Avelo 77-800 is going to be heading on over to Raleigh, Durham after arriving in from Wilmington. The final flight out to Wilmington before the seasonal ends. Started as a summer and fall seasonal, but will be ending quite short, about 3 months. It lasted 2-3 months, so it will be ending here fairly soon. And then the Breeze A220-300 to finish off this terminal will be coming in from Charleston. He'll be continuing on over to Las Vegas. Now we're going to be moving on over here to our Delta. Oh my God! Hold on, give me a moment. There we go. We're going to be moving on over here to Delta and Hawaiian. We're going to start here with the Hawaiian Airlines A330-200. This guy just arrived in from Honolulu. He'll be continuing on over to our Saturday-only service out to Kahului. Still going strong right there. I heard they're thinking about adding a Saturday-Sunday soon, so we'll see how that goes. The Delta 757-200 is going to be heading on over to Atlanta for us today after arriving in from... no, that's our only 757 route. This guy is on the Atlanta turnaround service. I know they're thinking about adding I think it was a 752 up to Minneapolis. I'll be interested to see if they do that here in the future. Sorry about that. My phone keeps quitting on me. I think it's because I accidentally keep pushing on this table a little bit too hard to where it presses the volume button, and then that's what's causing it to shut off the video. So I'm going to try not to do that anymore. Anyways, this Delta CRJ700 is going to be heading on over to Raleigh, Durham after arriving in from Cincinnati. Or 2 CRJ700 routes here, so that's super awesome. The Delta 767-300 ER is currently taxiing into its gate after arriving in from the nonstop service out to Paris Charles de Gaulle. That was added last month. Very awesome to have this service 2 months in a row, still going super strong on that one daily 767-300 ER. 2 of the 2 staple aircraft for Delta's mainline here. The Delta A321 is going to be heading on over to... Get my sheet. This guy will be heading on over to Detroit after arriving in from Las Vegas. And the 737-900 is going to be heading on over to Los Angeles after arriving in from Seattle. The 2 smaller aircraft here, but still very big on the Delta fleet. The 717 is going to be heading on over to Nashville after arriving in from Tampa. And the A220-100 is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, New York John F. Kennedy after arriving in from Boston. The American Airlines A321 here is going to be heading on over to Charlotte after arriving in from Los Angeles. The 737-800 is going to be heading on over to Phoenix after arriving in from Dallas. And the A320 is going to be heading on over to Las Vegas after arriving in from Austin, Texas. Hitting our regional section up right here, this E-145. If it will focus, there we go. E-145 is going to be heading on over to El Paso in the turnaround service. The Republic E-170 is going to be heading on over to New York John F. Kennedy after arriving in from New York LaGuardia. And then the CRJ700 right there is going to be heading on over to Cleveland after arriving in from Orlando. The American U-10-5 with the enhanced winglets is going to be heading on over to Mexico City after arriving in from Boston. And this Alaska 77 MAX 9 is currently pulling into the gate after, or is currently heading back to his gate after arriving in from Portland. He'll be continuing on over to San Diego. Moving on over here to this side, we have this American A321. This guy is going to be heading on over to, let's see, what's one we have not used yet? I think we'll do Washington Reagan after arriving in from Miami. And then the 77-800 is going to be heading on over to Chicago O'Hare after arriving in from Tampa. There we go. The CRJ 900 right here is going to be heading on over to Vancouver on the turnaround service. And then our JetBlue A321 here is in the Prism Tail, and it is going to be heading on over to Boston after arriving in from Newark for us today. We have this American A319. This guy's going to be heading on over to Cancun on the turnaround service, our final flight going into the late summer seasonal service that this guy runs just through the mid-October section. The 800 Southwest 77 800 in the Freedom 1 livery right here is going to be on that Puerto Vallarta. I think that's how you properly pronounce it. Turnaround service right there. The Delta 737-900ER is going to be heading on over to Minneapolis after arriving in from, I don't think we've used Salt Lake City, so I'll say Salt Lake City. The Alaska 737-900 on the UNCF livery. Oh, come on, give me focus. There we go. This guy's going to be heading on over to Anchorage after arriving in from, he's Anchorage turnaround service, sorry. The Delta 8220-100 is going to be heading on over to New LaGuardia on the turnaround service. The JetBlue A321 in the Mitten Tail, another new model right here. This guy's going to be heading on over to Fort Lauderdale after arriving in from, we'll say, John F. Kennedy. The Southwest 77 MAX 8 in the Heart 1 livery right there is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, Chicago Midway on the turnaround service, even though we've already used that. The American E-110-5 is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, Mexico City on the turnaround. Once again, I'm so sorry about that. It's just, man, I don't know, it's just not my day, apparently. This 77 MAX 8 United here is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, Houston after arriving in from Denver. And then this Fiji A350-900 is currently on final here in from Nadi. The Breeze E-195, it just arrived in from Orlando. He's going to be continuing on over to Providence. The FedEx 767-300F is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, Indianapolis after arriving in from Los Angeles. The 777F is going to be heading on over to Anchorage after arriving in from Memphis. The 767-300F is currently going to be pulling into his gate after arriving in from Ontario. He'll be continuing on over to Miami. The 757-200 is going to be heading on over to Philadelphia after arriving in from Chicago Rockford. And the 747-400 finally was able to use the interactive parts here, as you can see. This guy is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, Louisville after arriving in from Anchorage. The Frontier A320 Neo and the Poppy the Prairie Dog livery is going to be heading on over to, this guy just arrived in from, say, Orlando. He'll be continuing on over to San Juan. The Kenya Blue Retro 77 MAX 8 just arrived in from, we'll say, Dallas Love Field. He'll be continuing on over to Baltimore. The United 77-800 just arrived in from, let's see here, Chicago O'Hare. He'll be continuing on over to San Diego. The Amber flight just arrived in, this is a Swearingen Metroliner. He just arrived in from Mobile, Alabama on the turnaround service. Have a couple of GA aircraft here. This Bombardier Challenger 300 is a privately owned aircraft. He's going to be heading on over to Teterboro after arriving in from Van Nuys. The Swearingen Metroliner is going to be heading on over to, we'll say Trenton on the turnaround. And then this NetJets Bombardier Challenger 300 is going to be heading on over to, say, Salt Lake City after arriving in from Fort Lauderdale Executive. A little bit more to go here. I'm so sorry about that. I don't think this is my day. But this United Express CRJ-200 just arrived in from Cleveland. It will be continuing on over to Washington Reagan. And the CRJ-200 right here is going to be heading on over to St. Louis after arriving in from Dallas-Fort Worth. The E-170 is flown in for a Skywest 710-5. This guy's going to be heading on over to Tampa after arriving in from Miami, which was on an A319. That is downgraded, though, to an E-175. This Jetsuit XC-145 is currently going to be pulling into his gate here shortly after arriving in from Dallas Love Field. He'll be continuing on over to Denver BJC. And this one right here is going to be heading on over to Austin after arriving in from Miami. Getting to the final about dozen or so aircraft. Going to be hitting the internationals real quick. This Emirates 777-300GR in the flaps down configuration is going to be heading on over to Dubai on the turnaround service. The KLM 787-10 is on the Amsterdam turnaround service. And then the Air Tahiti's Nui 787-9 is on the Papeete service after arriving in from Paris Charles de Gaulle. The United 737-9 are here in the Continental Globe livery. Just arrived in from, let's see here. Trying to make sure I don't use all my 757 services. He just arrived in from, we'll say, oh man, what routes have we not used? We'll say Los Angeles after arriving in from Newark. The 737-700 is going to be heading on over to, I feel like I put a 737-700 service, but I just can't find it. Man, what did I? Oh, Las Vegas. There it is on the turnaround service. The 737-800 is going to be in the Star Wars livery. Is going to be heading on over to. We already used San Diego. We'll say Houston on this one. Be moving around over here. Let me grab my thing in note paper. I'm just gonna have to do it like this. The A320 right there is going to be heading on over to. Oh God, come on, focus. A320 right there is going to be heading on over to LaGuardia. The 737 MAX 9 is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, I think I'll use Houston again. The 757-200 is going to be heading on over to San Francisco after arriving in from Newark. This JetBlue A320, come on, let's focus here right at the end. JetBlue A321, this guy's going to be heading, man, I'm so sorry about that. I think this is like the 7th time or something. This guy's going to be heading on over to, this is the JetBlue A321 in Neo Balloons Hill. This guy's going to be heading on over to, we'll say, I don't think we've used Boston yet on the turnaround service. And then the JetBlue A320-300 is going to be heading on over to, we'll say, this guy will be heading on over to Bermuda on the new summer season, or sorry, this is the summer-fall seasonal. This is when that's going to be running after arriving in from Nassau. The United A319, the final domestic for this update. This guy's going to be heading on over to Orlando on the, Orlando on the turnaround service. And then we have the two internationals over there. The WestJet 737-700 is on the I think that's Calgary. Oh, sorry. He's heading out to Calgary after arriving in from Toronto. And then the Avianca is on the San Salvador turnaround service. I really hope you guys do enjoy today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, as it really helped me out. I know this one was a really rough one. That's the on and offs with just accidentally just shutting off the video. That happened, I think, probably about 7 times or something. So I really do apologize for that. But I really appreciate you all sticking with me throughout this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it would really help me out. And I will see you all in the next one.